Hey. How's everybody doing? Welcome to another episode of Merlo's Movie Massacre, episode 50, the first show of 2022. Thank you all for tuning in. 50 episodes. Wow. I probably should actually be at more, but it's all good. 50 episodes is still quite a bit. Not bad, anyways. Let's just see who's all in the chat. Christian Spencer is here. Hey, Christian, how are you doing? Father Mahoney, how are you doing there, Rob? I just saw you recently in in Michelle's chat. Who else we got? Nona Chan here as well. Hey, Nona, how are you doing? Glad you can make it. Aaron Johnson is here as well. Hey, Aaron, how are you doing? And our buddy John Evans from Behind the Fiends. Howdy from my COVID lockdown. Yeah, man, COVID is everywhere. John, get better, my friend. Get better. I'm glad. It's very nice of you to tune in, even though you've got COVID. I'm fine, but tired. Well, I am too, actually. I'm always tired these days. So much happening. So much happening. So thank you guys all for tuning in. Got a wonderful, wonderful show for you guys tonight. I got a special guest. Before we get to our special guest, we're going to give our plugs to our good friends. Neither of them are here in the chat. We'll see if any of them turn up. But Breathless Beauties, Michelle Appollonia and her horror-themed dolls. I just love these things. So her links are in the description as always. Go drop her a message and if you're interested in getting one of these awesome horror themed custom made dolls, she does them, and free shipping in the US. There you go. We also have the artwork of our favorite Michelle Blasky, who's doing the third channel, of course, and she does this very obscure art that I really, really, really dig. And yeah, I mean, I love and of course, again, she's doing the third channel. Third channel is a Halloween 3 fan film. She's got a few days left on her Indiegogo. Definitely go and check out their campaign before it ends in just a few days. I think she'll be starting another one sometime soon, but because they didn't raise enough funds, but go support her. This is a Halloween 3 fan film. Is something you don't see very often. I mean, there are a couple on YouTube, but let's not talk about those. Let's not talk about those. So go support both Michelles, Michelle A and Michelle B. Links are in the description. Go support them. They need your support. I love them. They've been great friends of mine. Hey, and speaking of which, it looks like I just look over to the chat, and Michelle Appollonia is in the chat. Hey, Michelle, how you doing? Glad you can tune in tonight. All right. There you go. And as much as I like to support others, I also like to plug myself a little bit too. The Sawyer Massacre is still crowdfunding. We are in demand, of course. So our links are in the description as well. We have just cast Ed Neal to play the character Rex. And Rex is going to be an interesting character in this movie. Is Rex a Sawyer? Ed Neal is famous for playing the hitchhiker from the original A. Sawyer, of course. Is Rex a Sawyer? That is the question. Maybe so, maybe no. I don't know. But we're honored to have Ed Neal in the cast playing Rex. And we need your support so we can hopefully get him in there for a few more days. And by the way, I didn't put a thing in my toolbar, but I should have. The 11th, which I think is on, God, I should have my calendar in front of me. January 11th, next week, early next week, I think, we are having the second round of Chainsaw Trivia. Okay. And that is in our Indiegogo as well. Chainsaw Trivia. If you know your Texas Chainsaw Massacre trivia, you come on this very show in the chat like you guys are right now. And if you know the answers to the questions, you could win the screen-used chainsaw from our teaser trailer, and it will be signed by Leatherface. To get the perk, it's only like $11 or $12, depending on where the dollar is. Canadian dollars, it's 15, but it's going to be either 11 or 12. I'm not sure where it's at right now, but somewhere in there. And that's pretty cheap. You get your name in the credits anyways. And I think it's a sweet perk. And it's a fun night of chainsaw trivia where I'm going to be asking cool questions that have to do anything Texas Chainsaw Massacre related. Isn't that awesome? Did we get a question here from? Do the reveal like they do in school? Oh, just like they do in Scooby Doo. I'm never good at that. That's good too. All right, I've yapped on long enough as it is. Let me introduce my guest. My guest tonight is a wonderful indie filmmaker and all-around good human being. And he's got a new film out called Masquerade. He's going to have his own fan film, a Jason fan film coming out, I believe, in May sometime. So let's give a warm welcome to our good friend, Jason Pitts. Hey, Jason, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Steve?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. So, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for
It's
having
good to.
me, and
I've
congratulations on getting Neil in your movie. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, yeah, thanks. We're pretty excited about it. So that's for sure.
Awesome.
But I'm really glad to get you on the show because I've networked with you for since about March or April, I think, anyways, of last year, and never actually got to meet you face to face like this. So it's kind of cool that I finally get to do that. So
Absolutely,
and
man. Thank you for having me.
yeah, no problem. We met on the Slasher app, as I recall. Is that right? Is that where we met?
Originally, I think, but then I think we reconnected through Jason Nike, I believe.
Through Jason Nike, yes.
Or
Who I
Nike,
think he found out about you through me, basically. I think it was sharing your I think it was sharing stuff for Voorhees on Facebook, and then my network with a bunch of YouTubers is fairly good. It's not huge or nothing like that, but it's not bad. So yeah, and he had you on his show and had some of your actors on his show and stuff like that. So I've been seeing a lot of you lately, so that's really good.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into film, and all the wonderful juicy details about yourself.
Absolutely. I've loved film my entire life. Grew up throughout the '80s watching films in drive-in theaters, double features, predominantly horror. Grew up on Texas Chainsaw, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and just I've always felt like the horror genre is the most creative of all the genres. You can do a lot with it, and I always knew that I wanted to tell stories, and film was the medium I wanted to do it in. It was always my goal to be a filmmaker. After high school, I went to film school. I wrote a script. It got sold. The production company made it. I could walk into Blockbuster, see my movie with my name on it, which was really
That's
cool.
awesome. What
The bad
what was the name of the movie?
it's called Manji, Manje, and it is it's a zombie slasher film.
Oh
And
wow.
the concept, like it's there's just one zombie in the movie. It's not like a horde of zombies, and this character brings her dad back to life through voodoo. And the concept is the more flesh he eats, the more human he becomes.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so she throughout the movie, you don't know that it's it was set up this way. They're just out in the woods, and this zombie starts attacking them and eating them. And then at the end, you find out that she lost her dad in a car wreck, and she brought him back through voodoo, and she brought her friends out to the woods to feed them to her dad so that he'd become human again.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
Big twist at the end. But anyway,
Interesting.
uh, the bad part about the story is that I never made a dime off of it. And
Oh, you never made it like but you said you sold the script.
yes, but I did not have an agent, and I didn't know what I was doing at the time. And so, I mean, my name's on it, which is cool, but yeah, I just, that left a bad taste in my mouth. So I left the industry for about 15 years. And
Okay.
recently I decided to get back into it, and I would basically start it over. And Alone, which you can see on YouTube, it's my first film back after deciding to come back into it, and just you know, I stopped thinking that I needed to make money, and just started to do it because I love to do it. And these last few years have been amazing for me. I've never felt more alive, and just um, I'm loving it. So
That's
very
awesome.
fulfilled. Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's my
Well,
story.
oh, that's really cool though. That's really cool. I mean, I never sold a script. I'll say that. I know how hard that can be. I mean, some people write scripts for just focus on screenwriting for like 15 years before they actually sell one. So,
Yeah.
but I guess so I'm guessing when you say you didn't make any money, it was on the back end. You didn't make any money on that.
Okay, so I didn't make any money at all.
Oh, at all. So,
Yeah, the
okay.
original deal, the contract that I signed said that I would get a percentage of the profits, and the
Ooh.
production company, uh, the distribution company was called York Entertainment, and they are no longer in business. But they uh, said that the film never made a profit. So
It's so easy to say
if it
that,
never
right?
made a profit,
Yeah.
then I don't get anything, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Which doesn't make sense to me because it was in Blockbuster and Hollywood Video. Like I would go cross country, and every Blockbuster I stopped at had it. Every Hollywood Video I stopped at had it. So I don't know.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, it's that's the thing. It's a shady market, and it's so easy for these guys to say it didn't make any money when it probably actually did.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the thing that kind of sucks about it, you know.
and I
Uh,
at the time I was young, very young. I was like 20, and I didn't have an agent. I didn't know what I was doing, so I was like, I
yeah,
was excited to have my movie being made, right? So I was just
yeah.
like, yeah, man, whatever. And then a year goes by, and I'm like, I should be getting checks anytime now.
Oh boy. Well, you live and you learn. But you know, if we do it just for the money, at the same time, it's like, uh, I don't know. I mean, if the movie did well, it should at least propel you you know, you think it would propel your name forward to write more stuff. But you never know. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we've got a couple new chatters. Just want to acknowledge them. Tiffany Moses Ciante, I think that's how I say it. Thank you for joining the chat. You made it alive. Yes, you did. And Carlos from the Lazy Reviewer is here as well. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, everybody. It's great to be into 2022. It's going to be a good year. I just know it. I absolutely just know it. Uh, so how old were you when you directed your first movie?
So my first movie, I was 24 when I
Wow.
directed my first film.
Was it a feature?
It was a feature, yeah. It was called E, and so funny story. Before I sold the script, I actually shot it myself.
Oh, really?
Um, Yeah. So E is Manji, but my version of it. And
Oh,
so
okay.
after I shot E, I sold the script, and then they went and made Manji with it. And Manji is a Voodoo Haitian word; it means to eat. But
Hmm.
my title is just the letter E, and I was making an analogy because without her dad, she's empty inside, and like I was making an analogy because the way she lures her friends into the woods is all like, she's all like, "Oh, I ran out of gas. My car's on E." And then later in the film, she says something along the lines of like, "I'm just like my car without my father. I'm empty inside. I'm always on E." So
I see. It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. So, how drastically different were each version?
they were actually quite a bit different.
They were, eh?
One smart thing I did in the contract is I wanted to make sure that I was the one to rewrite anything that they wanted to be rewritten.
Yeah.
So they wanted they didn't like that the villain ended up being the main character. So that if you go watch Manji, that what I just described is actually different. Um, so they ended up having it be a guy that liked her that worked at the morgue that brought her dad
Oh,
back. So anyway, so yeah, it's actually quite a bit different.
yeah. I've heard that before with villains being the main character, that Hollywood typically doesn't like that
Hmm.
for whatever reason. I mean, there are movies out there that do have it, but it's not that common though. It's not that common. It's to me, I like seeing films that can change it up a little bit. But you know,
I do too.
we got a question for you actually
Yeah.
from Christian Spencer. Jason, what will you tell if what will you tell a film advice get started? I'm thinking, you know, what kind of advice would you tell somebody who wants to get started in filmmaking? I'm sure that's what he means to
Yeah.
say.
Um, so, Christian, thank you for the question. Just learn as much as you can. You don't have to go to film school. Um, uh, you can, like with YouTube, you can pretty much learn anything you want to learn. You can learn lighting techniques. You can learn. It really just depends on what part of the film business you want to do. If you like, eh, YouTube is basically a film film school. I mean, you can, you can seriously use it that way.
For
Um,
sure.
and really, the best thing you can do is just to go out and make films, even if they're bad. Um, every bad film you make is a step closer to making an amazing film later on. You learn by doing it. Film school's great. You learn a lot, but nothing beats getting out there and just doing it. Um, don't once you get to a level to where people are looking at you and interested in your ideas, don't do what I did and just sign contracts willy-nilly just because you're excited about it. Make sure you have an agent or a lawyer representing you so you don't get taken advantage of.
Yeah, it's so easy for that to happen.
Yes.
Very, very easy for that to happen. And just volunteer too. Just like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
volunteered on a lot of indie film sets, and they led to paying gigs. You know, so
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean that's if you want paying gigs. That's but I mean you can always just learn something new from somebody, and I like hands on stuff myself. Anyways, we have another question. Oh God. John Evans. I know this is entirely off topic and it's probably the cold meds, but after now having Omicron, I feel I should petition Hasbro to make it a Transformer Decepticon course.
I just want to skip to the Omega variant. Like, that's the end, right? Because it's all just Alpha, Delta, Omicron. Let's just skip to the Omega. Just be done.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. Nona Chan says, I really love making scripts. I did it in high school, but here in Uruguay, oh, well, that's where you're from, eh? Very cool. It's very difficult to make a movie or something like it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the technology is like there, but technology now makes it so super easy to make movies. That's for sure. I mean, even to record sound, you know, our phones. have got professional microphones in them, you know. I did some ADR that way. I hate to admit that, but some of the ADR in my trailer was actors recording their voices on their phones. I didn't get a single person saying, "Oh, that voiceover sucked" or anything like that. So I mean, yeah, I mean it's technology does go a long way. It's you can shoot movies on your iPhone, just so you know. You can if you know what you're doing. You know, if you know what you're doing, you can.
Yep.
But anyways, yeah, let's talk about some of your more recent work. So you just recently released a movie called Masquerade. I'm not sure if you've actually got it available anywhere because it's in festivals right now, as I recall, right?
It is in festivals. I can't have it for free on YouTube, or else we'll get disqualified for several festivals. But I am selling DVDs. That's one way to watch it, and I also am selling the link to Masquerade. So that's another way to watch it.
Like as a digital download or like the YouTube, like a YouTube.
It's just a private YouTube link.
Private YouTube link. Okay.
And so if somebody wants to shoot me $5 through Cash App or PayPal, I'll send them the private link.
Ah, there you go.
And
you don't have Cash App here.
I know it's a kind of a ghetto workaround way to do it, but that's
do
what I
gotta do. You know, maybe you make your budget back or a little bit more.
The reason I'm doing it is because I'm trying to raise a budget for the third one, Lonely Echoes.
Yes, yeah. You might want to tell them about how there's a bit of a
saga
with your film.
Yeah, there's a saga going on. There's four films, all that are connected, and telling one big overarching story while also telling little stories throughout the different movies. So the first one is called Alone, and that is on YouTube for free right now. You can just search Jason Pitts Alone, and the full film is there on my channel. It's about 33 minutes long. And then the next one is called Masquerade, and it released we had our first screening about 2 weeks ago. And like Steve said, we are in the middle of a festival run, probably going to go throughout most of the year. So far, we've had 7 official selections and 2 wins. Wow. Best horror short from the Cult International Film Festival, and the other one was new. I can't remember what the other one was, but anyway, yeah, 2 wins so far.
2 wins. There you
go. We were nominated for best horror short in another one. Didn't win, but we were not made it to the final round. And then Olivia Disney, our lead actress, was nominated for best actress. So,
oh wow,
we're doing pretty good so far, and there's still a lot to go.
I would say. Oh yeah, for sure. Did you enter it into quite a few festivals, or is
Yeah, and I'm still entering them into more. I get paid every 2 weeks. Every time I get paid, I'll enter it into a big one that costs like $50 to $60, and also about like 5 little ones that are like $5 to $15. So
yeah, well, you got to do them all. All the ones you can, anyways. But
you got to do all the ones you can. Exactly.
Yeah, and some of them have good. Some of them do have good cash prizes. Some of those festivals too. I don't know if you've won any cash prizes yet or nothing like that.
Not yet. No.
Neither have I. So.
And Alone went through the festival circuit last year, and throughout the whole year, I think we were up to 25 official selections and 16 different awards. Wow. Including there was 1 best director, 2 best editors, a couple best makeup.
Oh wow!
Most of them, the vast majority of them, were like honorable mentions or like semifinalist awards. But Alone did pretty good too.
That's good. That's really good. I've entered into festivals a little bit myself, but not to that extent. I just a few here and there, and I'll be honest, I don't have money. I'm cheap. I just go to the cheap $5. Some of them are free, even. I'm like, oh, this one's free. I'll enter into that one for sure. But
what I've noticed is a lot of the festivals are starting to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and because every time we get in a new selection or an award, I'll tweet it, right, or put it on Instagram or Facebook, and so a lot of them are like starting to follow me now, and they're sending me emails, say, hey, we want your film in our festival. Here's a 60% off code. So submitting them is starting to kind of pay off.
Yeah, that's really good. If you get like those 60% off codes and stuff, that's pretty awesome.
And a couple of them have been 80% off. So
wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Practically free, right?
Almost.
Depends on how expensive. I mean, if it costs like $500 to enter the festival, that's still pretty expensive. But 80% off of 500 is still like $100 or something.
Yeah,
my math is a little bit off, I'm sure, but whatever. Something like that, Let's see if we got any other questions here. Oh yeah, Father Mahomey can't wait for Voorhees Night of the Beast.
Thank you,
I can't wait for that too.
Thank you so much.
Have you told everybody the official release date of Voorhees Night of the Beast?
I announced it yesterday, I think it was, or maybe the day before, but not on your show. So Voorhees Night of the Beast will go live on YouTube on Friday, May 13th.
Hey, there you go. Friday the 13th.
Our official launch date on YouTube. Now we will have a couple screenings, in-person screenings before that. One here in Arkansas and one in Louisa, Kentucky, where it was filmed. We'll have some in-person official screenings before that date. Don't know when yet, but and then we probably will also have it submitted to some film festivals before that date as well. But the official YouTube launch date is Friday, May 13th.
Very, very exciting. I can't wait to see it myself. Very, very exciting.
We just show it. It was a fun shoot. We got some really good stuff. Everyone involved loved the story. We did some really cool stuff. It takes place between Jason Takes Manhattan Part 8 and Jason Goes to Hell Part 9. It has a character. One of the little boys hiding under the bed in Part 6 is one of the main characters in my movie. Just like grown up, dealing with the trauma of what he went through in Part 6.
Wow.
And that's kind of what drives the story. And then so we have that character kind of wrapping up his character arc from Part 6. And then we also have Creighton Duke from Jason Goes to Hell Part 9. And it kind of serves as an origin story for him going into Part 9. Yeah. So a lot of fun.
That's interesting. There you go. I'll be honest, I've never been the biggest Jason fan. So I'm not. I don't even know. I know. I think I have seen both Jason Takes Manhattan and Jason Goes to Hell. There's at least one of the Friday the 13th movies I haven't seen though. Which one is that now? At least one, maybe even two. Actually, I never saw Jason X. I kind of refused to see that one, but I think it may have been like Jason Lives.
That's part 6.
Part 6 or part 7. One of those.
In my opinion, part 6 is one of the best ones.
I've heard a lot of people say that. I don't know. I've just never been the big Jason guy. So it's but I've seen Never Hike Alone, the fan film, and a few.
Never Hike Alone is fantastic. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely. I like that it was different than a lot of the other Jason films. So I mean, I think I have to give it props for that. So for somebody who was never really a big Jason guy, and I see Never Hike Alone, and it was very different from the other Friday the 13th movies. I kind of dug it, I have to say. I like it more than a lot of the other films in the franchise, but yeah, I mean, fan films have definitely come a long way. Do you plan on Voorhees being your only fan film, or do you plan on doing more? Okay.
Voorhees is my only fan film.
There you go.
I've always loved Jason, and I felt like that the team that I had going into it and the actor that we had, James Stokes playing Jason, I felt like that we could do it justice, and I don't want to do it again. It was an amazing experience. It was a lifelong dream. I would love to do a Freddy film, but I don't want to do it without the budget. Like that would be a huge budget. That we
Huge
just
budget, yeah. Just to
at
make
the
up one
level I'm
Freddy
at right
alone.
now. At the level I'm at right now, I just can't. I can't even dream of attempting it. So
We'll never say never. You never know.
yeah,
The money could come. The money
yeah.
could come. But
If that happens and there's a studio backing me, then I would love to do it. But yeah, I don't want to attempt it without some backing.
well, there you go. Do you now? I don't know about you, but for me, I get a lot of people asking me about what my next, the next part of the Sawyer Massacre is going to be, and how many Sawyer Massacre films are you going to? Do you get that similar kind of question that I get? What's
Yes.
your next part going to be? And
Oh,
you know,
let me take that back. Hold on. Let me take that back. I may do another fan film. So one thing that's coming out of Voorhees that I keep hearing a lot is we have we spoiled some we sent some pictures out of the cast and their roles, and there's one in particular, Bailey Freeman, who is playing. We have some flashback scenes, and she's playing a young Mrs. Voorhees.
oh, okay.
And so there has been some talk, and we may do it, of doing like some kind of prequel with Mrs. Voorhees and Bailey. So we may do something there. So
Interesting.
let me walk back the never, not doing another
Well,
one.
it's not never say never, right? Never. You know what? I never say never with the fan film. With if I was to do another fan film, but I can't see it. I can't see me doing another fan film after the Sawyer Massacre. You never know, but I definitely don't. Yeah,
One good thing about doing them is it gets eyes on your work. I mean, people love these
very
characters,
true.
right? So, and that was our love for Jason was the main, and Friday the 13th was the main motivating factor. But we also knew that doing this would also get us some attention and put some eyes on our work and be like, hey, these guys, this shot looks amazing, and it has worked. I mean, our director of photography, Charlie Brady, he's starting to get calls and working on other stuff, working on, well, I don't know, but
I gave him a call.
yeah, he did, yeah. So and he's not the only one. I mean, other people are getting phone calls, and so it's it has been beneficial to us.
Definitely. So there you go. I mean, it's the work pays off. I mean, so there's definitely benefits to fan films, but there necessarily benefits to doing more than one fan film. I don't know. I think at some point you also want to show that you can do original work, and not that your work isn't original doing a fan film. I mean, if your story isn't original, it just really well fits within that cinematic universe, then it's still original. It's just not maybe the most original characters, but for the most part, I think it's
we
about
knew
story.
we knew that we had to do something different with Night of the Beast. So my partner Jason Mansfield, we were talking in the very first early stages, and we were trying to think of things that we can do that would be different, set us apart. And he is a huge Bigfoot enthusiast, and just knows everything about Sasquatch, everything about Bigfoot. Goes to all the conventions, has like 15 costumes. That kind of person. And I was just like, like Jason's in the woods. Like why don't we just do Jason versus Sasquatch? I mean, it makes sense to me. And and so we took the origin story with Creighton that I had written, and then the wrap up with the character from part 6, and then we built those two stories around an overarching story involving Sasquatch. So we're really proud of it. It turned out really well. So
That's awesome. That's
It is
awesome.
Jason versus Bigfoot, in case anyone didn't know.
There you go. That's a cool premise, though.
Yeah.
New chatter. We got Mario from Degree Centigrade is in here as well. Thank you for tuning in. Nona Chan has to leave though. Hey, it's okay. No worries about it. If your boss is going to be mad at you, then we don't want your boss to be mad at you. Thank you for tuning in. If you happen to come by later, you can. We'll still be here for a little bit, I'm sure. A little bit. Christian Spencer says part 6 is my favorite. You need to watch 1 through 6 mainly, if anything. If anything, 1 to 4. I've definitely seen 1 to 4. 5 was sort of, we're talking Friday the 13th here, of course. Part 5, I remember that was the one where they tried to do a copycat killer.
Yeah. Roy Barnes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. I remember that was a long time ago now. Long time since I've seen a lot of those movies, but I always thought that did have potential. I don't think they executed it well, but I'll have to go back and rewatch that one. I know some people hate it, some people like it, but I don't know. But yeah, one of those ones in there I didn't see. One of those ones that either part 6 or part 7. I can't really remember. I'd probably know once I start watching it if I've seen it or not. Yeah, but yeah,
Did it have a girl with telekinesis? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
That's probably the one you haven't watched. Then it's part 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Part 7, I probably haven't seen.
She's
so
like throwing
what's that
chairs.
one called again?
She's like throwing chairs at him, making tree branches grab him, and all kinds of craziness. It's pretty cool.
There you go. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen that one. Huh. Interesting. Who is this we got? I have no idea who this is. It could be a troll. I'm not sure.
It looks like
Love Face XYZ online strips without your clothing. What the heck? Okay, no idea if that's a troll or not, but thank you for tuning in anyways. I don't know. Yeah. I used to get trolls on this show like nonstop, and then all of a sudden they stopped coming. I don't know. Maybe they didn't like trolling me anymore, but maybe we got a return of one here. I don't know. What else have we got? Carlos from the Lazy Reviewer. My favorite Friday the 13th, besides the first one, is part 6. So yeah, that one gets a lot of love. Part 6. Yeah. So I need to rewatch. I need to rewatch it for sure. But yeah, part 1 is always the one that I remember the most. It's the one I enjoyed the most, I think, because I kind of like the ambiguity of who's the killer for the majority of the movie, of course, and obviously we find out at the end. But you know, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff, for ambiguity. A lot of ambiguity for me, a lot of ambiguity. We got another question for you. Kristen Spencer says, Jason, would you get Kane Hodder as Jason in the prequel? Ooh.
Well, if we did a prequel, it'd be focused on Mrs. Voorhees, and Jason would have been either a boy or would have just drowned. So I don't think that would make sense. So probably not.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know if you realize how far back you'd be taking it.
Yeah, going pretty far back.
Yeah. But in this movie, he could have worked. In Voorhees Night of the Beast, he could have worked. Maybe that's what he meant. I'm not sure.
The actor we had, James Stokes, every director is, and if you go talk to the other directors of their Friday the 13th fan films, they're probably biased as well. But I know I'm very biased. I think James Stokes did amazing as Jason, and as good as Kane would have done if we were able to have gotten him. So he was awesome.
I like your confidence in your Jason, but I'm sure, and you're probably right. Every Jason fan filmmaker probably says that, especially Vincent DeSante, because I think he played Jason in his fan film. I'm the best Jason. I don't know. I've never heard him. I've never really heard him talk about it, but yeah, probably thinks that. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe not. Any other questions? No other questions. there. So we'll wait for more questions. And or what did he say here? Behind the scenes, John Evans says, "I feel like they wasted a lot of opportunity to use Tom Matthews." I don't know which one if he's talking
I
about.
think I think he's talking about the Never Hike Alone
Do you think
movies.
so?
They're not done. They're still making more with Tom Matthews. So
That's
they
true. I've
still
heard that.
have, like, they
He's
still
in
have.
both of them.
I think they have at least 2 more coming with him.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see how they play out. I definitely preferred Never Hike Alone over Never Hike in the Snow, just from a overall story aspect.
Mhm.
But I feel like Never Hike in the Snow is setting up more, whereas I think Never Hike Alone as a standalone film is, it's good on its own.
Yeah,
It's great by itself.
it is. Yeah,
But Never Hike in the Snow feels like it's setting up more
absolutely.
sequels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Whereas, if Never Hike Alone was their only fan film,
It
I'd
would
be
have
okay
been
with it.
great. Yeah,
You could see a sequel definitely being set up from it, but at the same time, um, it feels complete on its own, I guess you could say. Whereas Never Hike in the Snow didn't feel as complete, I guess. But anyways,
I
that's
agree.
beside the
Yeah,
point. Where was I going with that? Well, let's get back to your other films here.
yeah.
So you've got this saga you're making, and you're about halfway through this saga,
Yep.
to my knowledge.
Masquerade was number 2. The next one is
Alone was
called
number
Investigation.
one. Yeah.
Yep.
So Alone was part one. Masquerade is part two. I've seen both of them, so I'm interested to see how they all tie together. That's for sure. Obviously, I'm not going to ask you to spoil anything.
Mhm.
But I mean, I guess you could talk about Alone, unless you don't want to spoil that on here too, because I'm sure a lot of our viewers haven't seen Alone. What would you like to say about Alone without spoiling it too much?
So Alone is the psychological horror entry of the saga. I'm doing each of them in their own subgenre of the horror overarching genre. Alone is the psychological one. Masquerade is the slasher, home invasion one. Lonely Echoes is going to be like the Silence of the Lambs or Seven type
Ooh,
cop detective investigation drama thing.
oh, that'll be
Uh,
the one for me then. I love movies like Seven.
um, and then Unmasked is going to be kind of like a mix of just like everything all together, because Unmasked has everything just comes together, and it's a big um, you know extravaganza, a big finale. But yeah, so Alone, it follows this drifter who's just on her own, making her way through the world. She's been kind of shunned by her family, and she's just very alone. And she meets a couple other people. She has very different interactions with each of them, and they are also alone in their own different ways. And these characters just after meeting and having their interactions, they're just never the same again after that. That's the best synopsis I can give without giving very many spoilers.
Totally understandable. Totally understandable. So, I don't know if you feel comfortable talking about this, but like, what was your budget for making these films?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So Alone, Alone was my first one back after my 15-year hiatus. That was all mine. I did other projects for other people in the year leading up to that, but Alone was the first one that I wrote and directed after coming back for 15 years. And so I didn't have a lot going into Alone. I had just recently started making some connections in the community around here. I raised $1,500. The budget for Alone was 1,500. After Alone came out and some people saw what we can do, I was able to raise a little bit more. The budget for Masquerade is about 4,000.
Oh wow, there's a bit of a jump that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I'm
but
hoping I'm hoping that Masquerade, after people see that, we can go to the next level for Lonely Echoes. get up to maybe the 10,000 range
Mhm.
which would be amazing.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah,
And again, that some people might think that's a lot of money for making a movie for
yeah, it's
$4,000, but it's
ridiculous.
really not. It's really not.
So
So
also another thing, all, on Alone and Masquerade, the cast and crew, everyone worked for free.
yeah,
Um, After like reading the script, that everyone loved it, wanted to be a part of it. Everyone worked for free. The vast majority of the money went to paying for hotel rooms and food.
yeah.
Um, for Lonely Echoes and Unmasked, my goal is to be able to pay everybody. Um, and I'm getting to the point where I feel terrible asking people to continue, to work for free. So I would love to be able to pay everybody, and
We are
that's my
definitely
goal.
the same in that regard, that's for
Yeah,
sure. I hate asking people to do stuff for free, but, it does happen. So, I mean, it's you know, when you got no budget to work with, do you make the film or do you not make the film,
yeah.
And if people are willing to do it for free, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Oh, new chatter, we in the person in the chat, Olivia Disney. Thank you for tuning in. I
She
think
is
that
actually
is that
she's the star of Masquerade. Yes.
there you go. I thought that's who that was.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. You did great in the movie, by the way. So you made a loan for 1,500. You made this one for 4,000, a little bit more to work with, but still you'd like more. Looking back at both of these movies, is there anything you wish you did differently, or wish you had budget for, or any stuff like that?
Um, I pretty much I pretty much did both of them uh, on the scale that I knew that we had. Um, the only thing that I'm not completely happy with is in Alone. There's a scene, a driving scene at night where we used the green screen. We used the green screen twice, one during the day and one at night. The day one I think looks fine. I'm very happy with that, but the night one just looked off to me. And if I could go back and redo something, that would be that scene, just to try to figure out how to do that better. It just didn't look as good as I know that we could have probably done.
Yeah.
Uh, but man, everything else, I'm very, very happy with
Mhm.
both films. I think both of them have pretty awesome stories, great characters, awesome performances. I love both of them. So
Mhm.
very
What
happy
was
with
the
them.
biggest reason for green screening the car scene?
Our budget, we
The
didn't
budget?
have, yeah, we didn't have a car mount. We looked into renting them, and they're just very expensive. We looked into there was one piece of equipment we looked into buying that you could like suction to the side of the door and have the camera like in the car, like shooting outside the car while I was driving. But everything was just so expensive,
Yeah.
we just didn't have the money for it. We had a
Yeah.
green screen and we had a computer, so we, we worked with what we
You
had.
shoot with what you got, that's for
Yeah.
sure, you know? I think this troll is back again. I don't even know, it's just emojis they're sharing, I don't know. I think it's a troll, I don't know, or it's just I don't know who it is. I don't know what it is. Haven't seen them before. It's interesting. Um, yeah, that's any other questions here? Olivia s Olivia says, "Happy to be here, thank you. You did great in the movie, that's for sure. That's for sure. Is there anything like, I mean, I've watched both of the movies. I'm trying to remember as much about Alone as I possibly can. Um, I'm watching Masquerade. I did notice some audio issues here and there, little things like that. And I before getting on with you, I mentioned that I didn't quite understand the ending. But now that now I wish you hadn't told me. Now I wish I could have gone back and see. I won't
Rewatched it.
spoil it for anybody out there. But it's definitely something I think most people are going to have to watch twice to really fully get.
Mhm.
At least watch twice, or
You're talking
make
about
sure you're
that
really
specific
paying
thing?
attention. What's that?
You're talking about that specific thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Gotcha.
Which I like, by the way. But you got to have zero distractions.
Yeah.
Essentially, I think if you want to pick up on it, and I don't know if you've ever had that issue before with like Alone. I pretty much got pretty well, but
Mhm.
Masquerade, I was like a little confused on the ending. Do you feel like it's too subtle, or do you think that it's just? Do
Um,
you feel like there might be? Do you worry about ambiguity in a
it's
film?
really
And
hard. I mean,
I
it's
know
really
it's hard
hard
to
because
judge, isn't it?
like me, it's hard to watch it objectively because I know what's happening, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But I kind of don't. I mean, she pretty much says what without giving it away. I mean, she pretty much says what's happening.
Yeah.
But we did have some conversations that because it was very important that the other two people in the room didn't react, to what was
Hmm.
happening, and they didn't, and but she did. So I don't know. Um,
It's definitely difficult. I found myself in the same position with a short I did about 4 or 5 years ago now, and I thought to myself, I thought that
yeah,
the motive of this killer was clear as a bell, and then the
and it was like,
majority of the audience were totally clueless on it. So
mhm,
it is a tough one. I think it's definitely something you got to pay super close attention to, and maybe you got to watch it twice. I think if I would have watched it a second time, I would have got it. I should have watched it a second time, but I've just been so swamped that it was like barely even able to get through watching it the first time. And they've got a screaming baby
oh
and
yeah,
stuff. It's well, not
yeah. I think
screaming.
I think it. I think to understand what is happening, it's very, very crucial that you hear her dialogue in that moment. Um, so I think if you can hear her dialogue um, there, I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah,
I hope it is anyway. That was the intent.
yeah. I mean, it is definitely tough. That's for sure. But yeah, but you know what? I think the fact that it's won some awards at festivals, it's got into a lot of festivals. Enough people are picking up on it because it's. Would it still get into festivals if the festival directors
I was like,
didn't
what?
pick up on
I
that?
don't understand that. Yeah.
Well,
What?
they might. I mean, it's visually, it's very very well done. Again, I mentioned the audio. There were definitely a few audio issues in there for me, but I've kind of gotten picky with picking out little audio things
Audio,
here and there.
audio is so hard, so
It
hard.
is. Did you? I can I ask you a question about that with Masquerade though?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, did you have a professional audio sound capture guy on set?
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought you did.
His name is Lon Keith. He's out
Okay,
of Northwest Arkansas. Amazing. Yeah. Very good.
but who mixed the audio?
The editor mixed the audio.
Who's the editor?
His name was Alex Irvin, and
Okay,
he edited both Alone and Masquerade.
I have to go back to Alone now to see if I notice the same stuff. I'm definitely hearing
Ba-
some inconsistencies, and it sounds like it's more of a. I don't mean to
Just kind
bash
of
your
mixing
audio.
the dialogue with the music, or
I think
putting
the
a little
most
bit of
jarring part
dialogue.
was the ending with the
He
two
stands
cops.
up when what?
The ending with the two cops was probably the most jarring moment for me. One cop sounded clear as day, and the other one sounded like had a lot of denoiser
Oh,
on her
okay.
voice. There's like a lot of filter on it, and it just I don't know if maybe her voice just didn't get picked up very well, and maybe ADR would have been a better option. I don't know. Again,
Yeah.
but it's like wow, that's a lot of filter on her voice and like none on his. So I mean that was something I picked up on,
Yeah.
and in the car the audio was a little bit sounded
Yeah.
like there was some sort of filter on it as well. I know car audio is never the best, but the car wasn't
So
moving
hard.
though, so
Yeah.
car wasn't moving. But yeah, just a little things like that. I think I probably pick up on them because I've had it kind of ingrained into me over the last 8 years that audio has to be perfect. Audio has to be perfect. And then, I kind of got into audio engineering a little bit because, well, I'm a musician first and foremost. So, if you want to record your own original songs, now it's like you record them on a DAW and you got to learn how to use how to use all the stuff and use all the EQ and whatnot on there properly. So that's why it sticks out to me. It probably won't stick out to most people. I don't know. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I'm always curious, now to talk to people about, how they did their audio and stuff like that. I figured it sounded like it was professional audio that was not mixed very well. That's what it sounded like to me, at least as far as the dialogue goes. But
Yeah.
you know, it's indie film. It's a film you made on a pretty low budget, and
Yeah.
so nothing is. It's never going to be perfect. At the end of the day, nothing's ever perfect.
It
So
can always be better. Yeah.
it can, and you know what? I said the same thing about my film too that I just released and put into festivals. Disorder. I was like, I don't think the audio is good enough, and we actually didn't have a professional audio guy on set, but we had professional audio gear. It's just nobody really knew how to use it. And me with my mixing, I didn't edit the film, but I mixed the audio. I saved the majority of the bad audio. Found tricks to save most of it, but
Yeah.
if you don't have I think having a professional audio guy, sound capture guy, is probably more important because fixing it in post is I think those people that always say it can be fixed in post. Well, sure, maybe if you
Maybe.
ADR,
Yeah.
if you can, even ADR though, it's such a pain in the ass. Have you ever done a lot of
Yeah.
ADR?
Yeah. We actually, it's funny that scene you're talking about at the end with the two cops. We
Hmm.
actually were dealing with a neighbor who was being very unreasonable, and
Oh,
just because he could, and we were doing something, uh, he was blasting his radio and his stereo as loud as he could.
oh
So
wow.
there are parts of that scene that we had to ADR because of that guy. Just the sound pollution. So
It must have been all her down dialogue, the girl, because it was all the girls' dialogue, but the guys'
yeah,
dialogue
it was
sounded
good.
crisp and clear. So
So, yeah,
I was
there
like,
was
oh, I
some
wonder.
problems with that scene when we were shooting it.
Yeah, yeah, it's not perfect. What can you do? It's indie filmmaking. It's indie
It
filmmaking,
is,
people.
yes.
When you have a budget of 2 million, you easily make your audio sound great. But when you're working with a few $1,000, it's not as easy as it seems. And sound guys charge a lot. I don't know if your sound guy charged a lot, but the ones here typically charge around $500-$600 a day.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
not cheap.
yeah, not cheap, but yeah, he actually was like everyone else, just didn't. He worked for free on those two movies. But again, I would love to pay him for the next two.
Who wouldn't? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was lucky enough to have a free audio guy when we did the teaser trailer for the Sawyer Massacre. So we were lucky enough there as well. But it doesn't always happen. You don't always get somebody for free in audio. I mean, if you're lucky, you make some connections, and somebody will do you a favor, but can't count on it forever, sort of thing,
Oh,
right?
definitely not.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm the same as you, man. I always want to pay everybody, and I want to pay like well. I'm
Yes.
already going over the budget with my actors and saying, "Geez, will you take this much? Can you do this?" And same with the crew. I'm like, "Can you do it for this cheap?" And whereas I want to pay everybody like $300-400 a day, sort of thing for their effort. 5 if I can really afford it, but it's
We were actually able to pay everybody on Masquerade, or not Masquerade, Voorhees, like the
oh, that's
entire
awesome. That's good
crew.
to know.
Yeah, that was really cool to
Step in
be
the
able to
right
do.
direction.
Yeah, we raised like 15,000 for that. So
Not bad. And it's like an hour, like about an hour movie, you think?
I think it'll be a little over an hour. Yeah.
That's yeah, there you go. You're moving up. That's
Moving on
the
up.
important thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's always kind of been my mentality with the indie film
Move
industry.
forward.
If I'm going forward, I'm gonna keep doing it. You know, if I'm always making something a little bit better, gonna keep doing it. Because I mean, after making my first film, I don't know about you, and you can talk about that experience if you want with your first film, I guess. And you know, I made my first film, and I got criticized to hell and back with my first film. You know, and a lot of people probably do quit because of all that criticism, and you know, knowing that you're going to make a crappy film your first go around, more or less, you know, and receiving that criticism. But you know, if you can keep going and make more, that shows your persistence for sure.
Yeah,
Did you
absolutely.
have a lot of that criticism though when you started? Did you get a lot
Oh,
of criticism?
yeah. The first one that I shot, I talked about earlier, is called E. We shot it on
Mhm.
a Canon GL2 back in like 2004. Had a big screening in Denton, Texas. Yeah, it was uh, it was pretty well received. There was some criticism. I mean, the sound is always an issue. But for me, I was just like, it was a great experience. Just take what I learned and keep going. The only thing that like stopped me was that experience I mentioned earlier about not making any money off of a movie that I had in the movie stores, and that just really deterred me from continuing on until recently, like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
But
exactly. I hear you on that. I can kind of see why. Did we talk about that on the show, or did we
no,
just
we
talk
talked about
about
it.
that?
Yeah, yeah, we talked about it on the show.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we talked about it while we were live or if we talked about it only in the pre-recorded thing. But yeah, so you had the movie that you sold the script to. You sold the
Yeah,
script to a company. It was like, I think it wasn't like a big film
no,
company or anything
no,
like that.
it was It was like one of their. I think it was like their third film that they had done or something like
Hmm.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, nothing on the front end. It was all
back end.
portion of
Okay,
the profits. Yeah.
never made a
So
profit.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
live and learn. It is what it ultimately boils down to. It's a live and learn type of thing. At least you've sold a script.
yeah,
I've never sold a script. You know, I've had screenplays that were finalists in film festivals and stuff like that, but never won an award. Finalist a few times, but never actually won an award. And never sold a script. So I mean, it's kudos to you, sir, for being able to do that. And you know, I got to read a little bit of Voorhees, so I know that you've got writing skills. I know you understand character depth and you know good character development and all that kind of stuff. So that was definitely one thing I picked up very well. And pacing,
yeah.
you
Pacing's
know,
huge.
pacing out your yeah, exactly. So kudos to you, and I'm
Thank
really excited I'm super excited to see Voorhees Night of the Beast. Even though I'm not a big Jason guy, I've never been a big Jason guy. Even when I was a kid growing up, you know, and Jason was super popular in the '80s. I don't think you know I had two brothers, and my older brother was huge into Freddy,
you.
and I was huge into Michael Myers when Halloween 4 came out.
Mm-hmm.
That's because I'd never heard of Halloween before then. Because I mean, Halloween was kind of on a bit of a hiatus, I guess you could say, at that point. Whereas Freddy and Jason were kind of taking over the '80s, and then Halloween 4 comes out, and I was like, I like this guy. This is my
This
guy.
guy's
You know?
cool.
Yeah. My brother can have Freddy if he wants, and Jason is, you know, I always kind of thought, a guy in a hockey mask, whatever. Uh, you know,
No big deal.
but Michael Myers, I don't know. I took to Michael Myers
He was
instantly.
creepy for sure.
Yeah, there was something about the look always for me about Michael Myers that that got me hooked. And then, you know, I was about 12 years old when I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time, and I was like, that's the scariest thing ever. So, but you know, it's all good. Do we have? Let me just see if there's any other questions in the audience here. Oh, Michelle Blasky joined. I don't think I acknowledged her. Michelle Blasky, who's doing the third channel. She's just got a couple days left in her campaign, everybody. So go support Halloween 3 fan film, just so everybody knows. Unofficial sequel to Halloween 3, which is something you don't see very often.
Nope.
Gotta love Noisy Neighbor, she says. Yeah. So for your Masquerade, that end scene. Yeah, I bet that's probably what happened there then with that sound. Is the editor was trying to mix out the Noisy Neighbor, probably taking a denoiser on it and just trying to filter it all out. But unfortunately, you know, that's what's going to happen. Christian Spencer asks you, Jason, will you make a slasher film? Your own creative killer?
You need to watch Alone and Masquerade.
Yep,
that's all I'm going to say.
We've been talking about them a bit, but yeah. I mean, Masquerade is definitely. I don't know. What would you say is more of a slasher film though between the two?
Oh, definitely Masquerade.
Yeah,
Masquerade is definitely the slasher film of the two.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And you mentioned Lonely Echoes. So how many? It's going to be 4 films total. That'll be exciting. I can't wait to see how they all tie together.
So the goal is for a viewer to be able to watch all 4 of them in one sitting, as if it's one big movie.
Yeah, that makes sense because they're all around 30 minutes each, sort of thing.
Alone was 33 minutes. Masquerade was 37 minutes. And Lonely Echoes is probably going to be closer to 40, 45-ish.
Okay.
Michelle, yes, you can go to YouTube and type Jason Pitts Alone, Alone, and Alone will be there. It'll pop up. It's on YouTube now for free. Masquerade is not available online without purchasing the link. So I'm doing something kind of crazy that I haven't seen anyone else do. I have a private link, YouTube link for Masquerade, and I'm selling the link for $5 to try to raise the budget for Lonely Echoes to help with that. So basically, people can PayPal me, Cash App $5, and I'll message them the link. And it's been going pretty good so far.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It's working out. Have you thought of doing it more like a digital download where you can just email them the link if they Cash App you or PayPal you?
I have not. I don't know. I thought it would be easier just to send them a link.
It probably. I think the reason why I say it though is because the link isn't officially their link. You know, it's a YouTube link. You know, so some people really like to have something they can have saved on their computer.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's just my mentality. I don't know. I love digital downloads. You know, I never buy Blu-rays or anything from Indiegogos. It's like digital download. If I ever was to, whenever I do back Indiegogo campaigns, which is very often, I'll admit it's not too often, but I've done a couple here and there, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never go for Blu-rays or DVDs. I'm a digital guy. I hate to admit that, but I am. I've been consumed by the digital age. What can I say? Even though I know that a lot of the quality stuff is not as good. What's that?
I said that's the way it's going for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, in a sense, I don't like it, but at the same time, I got a lot of crap. If I'm being totally honest with you, I live in a small house with a fair-sized family now, and we got a lot of crap. You know. I do this show in my bedroom. I'm in my bedroom right now. This is where the magic happens, so to speak, right now.
I have so much stuff everywhere, horror movie memorabilia, and my wife is just like so tired of it. She's like, you need to start getting rid of this stuff.
Oh, I know. There you go. Did we have another question I wanted to see? I think so here. Lazy reviewer Carl was just saying Michael Myers is the creepiest, Jason's the most badass, and Leatherface is the saddest yet scary. Well, that's an interesting perception. I do think I mean, as far as the big villains go, yeah, I could see Michael Myers being the creepiest. Although there is something about Freddy in the early films, anyways, with Freddy that's kind of creepy. But I would still say Michael is creepier. Jason, yeah, most badass. Leatherface, saddest. I don't know if I can totally agree with it. I mean, he's a kind of a sympathetic character, but at the same time, he's just somebody who's taught what he's taught and knows what he's been taught very, very well. And I don't know. I mean, it depends on point of view, I think. Because I mean, somebody could say that I'm a very sad character because I'm a very sad person because I was taught to do this and taught to do that. And it could be looked at as a negative type of thing. But is it? But you know, it's perception, and I think that's always been one of the things I've loved about Texas Chainsaw Massacre is there's kind of a point of view in that movie. You have to be able to see through, you know. And I'm hoping it's going to come through with our film as well with the Sawyer Massacre. So we'll see. John from Behind the Fiend says, my bedroom is my studio too. Hey, you know, you do what you gotta do. I don't know. Jason, are you in your bedroom right now? Is it
No, I'm actually in my front foyer. Like I have like this horror movie shrine, and I have been regulated to just keep it here. And it's literally like when you walk into my house, the front foyer, as you walk into the living room. So I'm just like sitting in this foyer area.
I wish I had like a man cave that I can just put all my
Yeah.
nerd stuff and my horror stuff and my music stuff. And one day I'm gonna have my own place, or we're gonna have our own house. Get out of this tiny little house, but the rent's cheap here right now, and well, you know, rent's cheap, and geez, you do what you got to do to save money. So it is what it is. What can I say?
Yeah.
Olivia Disney says NFTs were probably created by wives tired of their husbands' collector's items. Probably. Probably.
That's funny.
I could totally see that. Yeah. There you go. Oh yeah, there's another question I'll ask since Olivia just maybe you can answer this, maybe you can't. I don't know. But since this is a saga, right? These 4 films.
Yep.
Can we expect to see like all the main characters show up at the end? Like, you know, the old lady from Alone and Olivia's character from this one, and I don't know. Maybe you can't answer that. I can like all the villains. I guess you could say your antagonists.
So yes, but not at the end.
Okay,
so
interesting.
They have a moment, but it's in Lonely Echoes. It's not in Masquerade.
Oh, okay.
It's not in Unmasked. It's in Lonely Echoes.
Oh, okay. So there's a moment. Oh, wow. I'm interested now. I was kind of wondering if it was going to be like what's the M Night Shyamalan trilogy that he did, Unbreakable, and then those other 2 movies.
Yeah. So yeah, like the structure of this whole thing has been influenced very heavily by two things. One of them actually is the Unbreakable series.
Okay.
Just because it's like it's their own little stories and then they come together. And the other one is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like if you watch these movies, make sure you watch all the way to the end, past the credits. So,
which I made the mistake of not doing because I'm terrible for that. I never like to watch through the credits. It's my ADD or something. I don't know, but yeah, now I need to go back and watch both Masquerade and Alone all the way through the credits.
there are little things that connect everything. when Kat got into Patty's car and alone, she picked up a magazine. You remember that?
Yeah.
On the cover of the magazine is a character, Sylvia Darnell, who is the main character in Masquerade.
Oh, wow. Well thought out, sir. Well thought out. Got to give you props on that. Yeah, that's great. I'm really looking forward to Lonely Echoes. Any idea when you think it'll be released? I know you're planning to start filming in the spring sometime.
If it goes the way Alone and Masquerade went, probably around December-ish.
December-ish of this year, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to it. Definitely look forward. And it sounds like that's going to be my kind of film too.
I'm going to try and push really hard to have it out by Halloween. But that's what I wanted to do with Masquerade, and we didn't make it. We had to push it back to late December. So
yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna try to do the same with Sawyer Massacre. I'm gonna try to have it out by Halloween, but who knows? It's a 90-minute film at least, so hard to say if I'll be able to get it out by then. But we'll see. A lot of editing to do, a lot of editing, and if I have to edit it on my laptop, it's not going to be a pretty sight.
Are you your own editor?
I don't want to be. I'm hoping we can raise money to hire an editor. Yeah. Maybe even Charlie Brady. Charlie said he's
a very good editor too. Yeah. Editor.
So I would prefer that. I don't mind doing the sound mixing. I'll do that. But the basic edit, I can't hold the footage on my computer anyways. It is all going to be on an external hard drive because my computer can only take like 200 gigs of footage. So I mean, I'm going to have probably 13 terabytes or something like that. I don't know, maybe not that much, but quite a bit, so I mean, it's I'd rather not be the editor. I'd rather have money to pay an editor, and I'll do all the sound. I'll do all the sound and music. Well, we've got a couple of other composers as well, but speaking of composers, who did you use to do the music and
for the composer for both Alone and Masquerade was Dustin Yoder, and he's a composer out of Conway, Arkansas, or Little Rock area, and he's fantastic. Highly recommend him. He's performed at Carnegie Hall. Knows violins, pianos. He's just amazing.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, it's glad you're using a composer too. I mean, I don't know if you get the same as me, but I probably get, I don't know, at least a few composers like every month emailing me or DMing me.
Too. Yeah.
Oh, I feel like it's kind of sad because I feel like the industry's changed so much, and so many filmmakers just get free music online and make their own scores that way. And because I mean I don't know how many indie films I see on YouTube that all kind of there's the same music for more or less, but you can tell it's been edited to a certain way or something like that. It's, I don't know. I like for
it to have its own essence.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. But I just, it's too bad. I feel like the indie film world is changing in that regard. Maybe even in the studio films. I don't know. All the music in a lot of these studio films to me sounds very generic, soundscape-ish sort of thing these days. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. I just I don't hear the feeling I need in the music. I find that that a lot of the music in today's movies is not as suspenseful because it's too overbearing. A lot of times it's like this music is right in your face and it's not there to give us those little dynamics to build up certain scenes a little bit here and there. And I don't know, I'm finding it's starting to become a lost art, and so many composers are just doing it for free now, just to get their music heard. And I don't know, I'm a little bit disappointed in the indie film world.
We also have an artist named Amy Bishop, who did the theme song for Alone and Masquerade as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and
Anytime you can do that, that's
she's
great.
fantastic, and she's got her own Spotify channel with all of her music on it. And, yeah, highly recommend her.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna say it to all you indie filmmakers out there: hire composers, hire musicians, hire, and even if they are doing it for free, I'd rather the filmmakers take the free composers rather than the free online music. That's all I can say. I know
I
it's
agree 100%.
we're low budget, but man, why use that online music? That I don't know. I've said I don't know a lot. I know, but
Oh.
but I really don't know. But it does bug me. That's all I can say. I want to like a lot of these films, but I heard this piece of music in a short film the other day, and I heard it, I hear the same online free royalty free music, canned music, whatever you want to call it, in all these movies now, and it's just starting to get on my nerves. But that's okay. That's my rant about
You won't find any of that in my films.
That's good. I'm glad, and I'm really glad you don't do that, because to me it's important. But anyways, we'll see if there's any more questions, and I won't keep you on here too much longer. But let me just see if there's any other questions, and if not, if we don't have any more questions, we'll just I'll just give you the chance to make some shout outs if you want. Oh, Olivia says Charlie is the bomb. I like that.
She is correct. He's
There you
amazing.
go. And Michelle Blasky, I can tell when filmmakers use free music on their films because it doesn't have those accents specifically tailored to reactions in a scene. Yeah, because you need the dynamics. You can use automation with those a lot, but I find that it's not as good. You need to do it yourself. You need to make you need a composer's touch to really get the dynamics that you need for that kind of thing. I think that's the biggest thing missing is dynamics. I want to hear really soft, and then I want to hear really loud. I don't want to hear kind of a loud soft and then it goes really loud.
What did you think of the score for Alone and Masquerade?
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I pretty much could tell it was an actual composer. It's great when I watch a film and it doesn't feel like somebody just placed in a bunch of soundscape, So you can do a good job with it, mind you, but it's still not the same. So yeah, I do like the music compositions. It fits it very well. Yeah. And it helps to add a little bit of suspense, and because you need that.
Yeah, definitely.
Who did the composer? Jason already answered that.
Yeah,
what was his name again?
His name is Dustin Yoder. Yoder.
Dustin Yoder. There you go. All right. Any shout outs you want to give before we call it a night there, Jason? Thank you again for coming on my show and chatting films with me.
Thank you very much for having me. Can I show my my payment apps for anyone who might want to buy Masquerade, or the link?
Go ahead.
Right. I don't know if you can see that.
There we go. There you go.
So if anyone wants to pay $5 for the link and contribute to the budget for Lonely Echoes, I will send you the link to Masquerade. You can watch it right now if you'd like.
Go support. It's a good movie, and you got to pay attention so you don't miss the main thing that I missed. I did miss it. I knew that there was something, but I had to ask him. I feel like I shouldn't have asked you now because I should have just gone back and rewatched it. But even at the same time, it's like, oh, now I get that. That's totally awesome, and it is awesome. I love stuff like that.
When you do go back and rewatch it, in the post credit, keep in mind what's happening in the scene that you had a question about. Because we see that same scene from a different angle.
Oh, okay.
So So yeah, just keep that in mind when you go back and
Oh,
rewatch.
okay. I think I have an idea. I
Yeah.
think I have an idea. I like that though. You know, I like it when a filmmaker makes you think,
It's
what?
the little things.
It's the little things. It's the
Yeah.
little things. You know, a good example of that was the ending of. Did you ever see Nocturnal Animals?
I have not actually.
Oh, go see that. A lot of people hated the ending, but I loved it
You
because
loved
I
it?
got it. I got it. If you get it, you love it. If you don't get it, you're like, "What the fuck was that?" You know? I don't know how many people I saw that, you know, I talked about that movie and they're like, "I hated that. What was the hell?" It was such a good suspenseful movie, and then all of a sudden that ending, like,
Terrible ending.
you didn't get it. You didn't
Yeah,
get it. It's a fantastic ending that says everything. It says everything without saying anything,
anything.
and
Oh,
I
that's
think that is
so hard to
powerful.
do. So hard to
It
do.
is hard to do, and it's gonna go over some people's heads. It's a guarantee it's gonna go over some people's heads. It might even go over yours. It went over some of the people I watched it with. It went over their heads a little bit, but I'm like, I think I got that ending, and sure enough, I googled it. I'm like, yes, I was totally right. That's what it meant, and yeah, it's great. It's great when I love that. I love that in movies when they can do that, and I don't see enough of it these days. Nocturnal Animals was kind of a surprise to me because you know it was an Oscar contender and stuff that year. I
Mhm.
can't remember if that was 2016 or 2017, but you know it wasn't like a huge movie that was on my radar. And then I
Right.
watched it and I thought, wow, this is fantastic. This is a great movie, and the ending just I love those endings.
Oh,
Love
yeah,
those kind of endings.
fantastic.
Anyways, let's see. I think we got a couple more. Oh, Bacon Pew Pew has.
Bacon pew
uh,
pew.
hey man, how you doing? You're little late to the game, but that's okay. That's all good. And Laser Reviewer is
Oh,
definitely going to watch along. Yeah, definitely
so
give it
much.
a
Thanks
watch.
for
Good
being
movie.
here. Let me know
What's
what you
that?
think. I
Yeah,
was
exactly.
saying thank you for watching alone.
Nocturnal Animals is one of the most underrated films in the past decade. The ending is one of the main reasons why. What he said. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Definitely the most underrated, one of the most underrated Hollywood films, I would say. I mean, I find a lot of good gems that are like indie, that are movies made for 500,000 to a million or something like that. I tend to find some good gems in there that are not made by big studios and don't have a lot of money behind them. But Nocturnal Animals was a pretty good movie. Uh, Kristen Spencer, did you watch Halloween Kills? Jason, did you watch it?
Yes, I watched it. I liked some parts of it. Most of it, I did not.
Oh, there you go. You're kind of like me. I don't know. I don't know. I'm.
I
Yeah.
loved the last one, the 2018 one.
Oh, you did, eh? See, I
I
didn't
loved
like
that.
that
That
one that
was
much either.
fantastic.
I
I
don't.
was so excited for Halloween Kills because of how much I liked the last one.
Yeah.
But man, it was a disappointment.
Uh I don't know. I'm pretty close on both of them. I didn't really like either of them,
Mm.
but I still like them more than most of the series. Still like them more than the Rob Zombie movies and
I hated
Halloween
the
5 and Resurrection and you know, even H2O I don't really like. I know a lot of people like H2O, but I've never been a big fan. You know, it's just it's for me Halloween is done after Halloween 4.
yeah.
I can't really none of the films are really that watchable for me after Halloween 4. But I love those first 4 movies though. And that's something I can't really say about any other horror franchises that I like 4 whole movies in. I love 4 whole movies in the franchise. But usually it's like 2, maybe 3 if they're, and that's about it. For the majority it's 2, but Halloween it's like I like 4. I like 4 of them. So, hey, Doomsday's Crypt, John Henderson is in the chat. We're just about to wrap her up, but there you go. Hate H2O and Resurrection. There you go. Well, H2O seems to be kind of like you either love it or hate it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't hate it, but I really don't
I
like it.
was I think it's above average. I
Yeah.
mean, there were some things that were cool. I think people just like to see Jamie. I mean, that was the first time she came back in 20
Yeah.
years. So, and then she
I
did it
get
again,
it.
and
But
everything was erased. It's just
yeah,
so weird.
they've done that a lot now.
Yes.
So it's there you go. John Henderson also says that I think the last Matrix kind of let no suck by name resurrections. What? There you go. And Olivia says Devil's Rejects was the shit.
So I
I'm
usually,
not a
uh,
Rob Zombie fan, so I won't. I'll
I
reserve my
absolutely
comment.
I love Olivia, but we disagree on the Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
I think the first half of the movie is amazing. It's brilliant. The second half of the film is terrible. Like it's two different movies for me. She just loves Baby. she Baby's a huge inspiration for her.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh well, that's okay. Hey, you know what? We all have our own preferences, and there's no, I don't know. There's no what I think certain films are made for me, and certain films just aren't. You know, and everybody's different. I don't. Anybody who likes the Rob Zombie films, say good for you, man. I wish I could like him, but I really don't. I've seen 4 of his films, and that was 4 too many for me. So
Yeah.
I've shut her down with the Rob Zombie. I haven't seen anything after his Halloween 2
Yeah.
because that was it.
I'm
I've seen enough.
I'm with you 100%. Like I said, I thought the first half of House of a Thousand Corpses was awesome, and I haven't liked anything since then from him.
Well, there you go. I just refuse to see any more after. I always wonder, maybe I am missing a good film. Maybe he's made a good film, but you know, I see the reviews from pretty much everyone online, and it's kind of the same old thing. So unless I hear of a film he made, like maybe this Monsters movie is going to be awesome. I don't know. Like it could
I
be.
don't
It's
know.
very very different from
I'm not
you know the typical
optimistic
thing
about
he.
it.
Yeah, but you know you never know. So if
Yeah.
the reviews are good and I see a compelling trailer, then maybe I'll give him one more chance and actually watch one of his films again. But the reviews have to be good. I have to see a good trailer that pulls me in. If not, then I don't think I'll see any more of his stuff. It's just not for me. It's not my cup of tea
Yeah.
for the most part. You know, it just isn't. So, anyways, thank you guys all for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and checking out my chat with. I don't want to say interview, but chat. Just a
Yeah.
chat with Jason Pitts,
Chat.
indie filmmaker, director, screenwriter, and all round wonderful guy. Thank you for being my guest there, sir.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. Any other shout outs you want to give before we call it a night?
Just thank you so much to everyone who supports us and supports indie filmmaking, and everyone who helped and worked on Alone, Masquerade, and Voorhees, Night of the Beast in one way or the other. We appreciate you guys so much.
Well, thank you so much, Jason. All right, guys, you guys have yourselves a good night. And just remember, final reminder, Chainsaw Trivia, January 11th. That's early next week. If you want to participate in that, it's going to be on this show. You just have to be in the chat, but you have to get the perk on our Indiegogo campaign. Link is in the description. There's a ton of links in the description, I know, but they're there. So thank you again, Jason, for tuning in, for being my guest tonight, and thank you all for tuning in. And we'll see you all next week for Chainsaw Trivia. Sawyer later.